Hello, and welcome to Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Mansfield, Ohio. I am Pastor Kathy Pennington, and I bring you another episode of Inside HTLC. Today, we are in the sanctuary again, but we are in a different area. We are up in the balcony, which not too many people hang out in. And you will notice when you look over the side here, you will see the sanctuary from a different perspective with the altar and up front. And so you kind of have the bird's eye perspective here. But also located in the balcony is the organ. And today I actually have a special guest joining me for our video episode. And that is Michael Smith, who is our organist. He has been serving Holy Trinity for 11 years. So I'm going to step out of the camera so that Mike can show us a little bit about the organ. So Mike, can you tell us a bit about the organ that we have here?
Certainly, Pastor Kathy. This is a 1965 Shantz pipe organ. It was built in Orrville, Ohio. It was installed in the church in 1965. What most people see, this piece of furniture, they think is the organ. This is actually just the console of the organ. This is where I play. The actual organ is behind us, and behind the screened area are hundreds of pipes and a blower which makes the music come up through the pipes as we play.
So let me take a break so
Okay.
that we can see what those places are. So this up here is the screen that Mike was talking about. And then you go behind the wall and you can see some of the pipes. But that's only just a few pipes. It's not, you're only seeing maybe a tenth of them. All right.
So what we have in the organ are hundreds of pipes. Some are 16 feet long, some are just several inches long. And behind the screen are louvers, and those are wooden pieces of wood that we open and close either to make the sound large or if we want to soften the sound. And our organ is tuned twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, and that is because of temperature change. So Shantz organ technicians come in, they check the console, and then they go into the organ and they start tuning it. I think that we are very fortunate to have this instrument. Not many, well, several do have pipe organs, but I've been very fortunate to be an organist at churches that do have pipe organs, so I thank them for that.
So when you come to look at the console of the organ, you will notice that it has a few keyboards, including a pedal board. Tell us, and of course there's a bunch of buttons. We all love buttons. So tell us a little bit about the console.
Okay, so what we have, Pastor, we have the swell and we have the grate, and some organs have 3, 4, 5 manuals. So this is a beautiful little organ. We have 2 manuals, swell and grate. We have all these stops, and it says pedal, swell, and grate. So these work the pedals, these stops, the swell, and then the grate. So we can, you'll notice on the grate there is a principle, and the principle is the foundation of the organ. So we always use that for hymns when we start, and then we can add different levels of stops. But we have very soft stops, They're flutes. We have reeds that are very loud and sometimes too harsh. And then on the pedals and on all of the registrations, we have couplers, and so that those couplers will add to the grate or to the pedal or to the swell. We also have above the pedal board 2 pistons. One is for the sforzando, which is every stop on the organ on. So if I would push that, it would play. The next one is for couplers of the pedal. Then these 2 pedals here, the large pedals, this pedal opens the swell. And this pedal is called crescendo, and that starts the organ, nothing, and then as we proceed pushing that pedal in, more of the organ sounds. They are just, I use all different sorts of stops, and we use them basically for hymns, preludes, offertories, postludes, and anything in between. And of course our liturgy.
Great. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome, Pastor.
So we use the organ in leading the musical part of worship. Because we are a liturgical church, that meaning that worship is very much a participatory service for everyone attending worship, not just the worship leader. We use the organ to lead us in our liturgy. Liturgy is another word that describes the work of the people, meaning that we all work together to make worship happen. Now, Mike and I have a preference for a more traditional worship style because we are both organists. We appreciate the beauty and the music that an organ provides, as opposed to a piano, guitar, and drums and those type of instruments. That doesn't mean that I'm not willing to have worship with those other instruments, because I do play the piano and I do play the guitar, and I've used both to lead worship. But my preference is to use the organ in worship. And so I feel that we are very blessed here at Holy Trinity to have a pipe organ that we can use. Mike, can you tell me a little bit about the city of Mansfield and the pipe organs around Mansfield?
Certainly. Mansfield was known as the city of churches. And if you're downtown Mansfield, within just a few blocks, there are numerous churches. Most of those churches have pipe organs. And just last year, there was a church on Park Avenue that used to be Central United Methodist. And a group of us got together to have their organ cleaned and tuned because it has sat silent for 19 years. So we had the Shantz Organ Company come in, and they were the builder of this 1956 instrument. And once they tuned it, it was beautiful. It sat 19 years not being played. And so these instruments are built to last. There are instruments in Europe that are several hundred years old. Of course, they've been updated, but a lot of churches are afraid to purchase a pipe organ because of the cost. And so they opt for an electronic or digital organ. Now, in our chapel, we have Allen electronic organ, and that was donated by Christ Lutheran Church in Lexington, Ohio, when the church was closed, and that replaced an older Baldwin. So, and it has a great sound, but it does not sound like a pipe organ. And digital organs today have beautiful sounds, and they mimic pipes, but it's not a pipe organ. So Mansfield has many churches with pipe organs. I don't know how many of them are actually used anymore, because as you know, Pastor, there are few organists that are there are few students that take organ lessons anymore. So it's a dying art, and it is an art, and it's a form of worship, which I think is very important.
Right. Yeah. The for me, the organ can provide so many different levels and combinations of music that it really touches all of our senses, even more than just our ears of what we can hear.
Yes.
And so that's when we use the organ, from going from the prelude music into the liturgy to the hymns, to meditative music as we collect offering or during the prayers, all the way to the postlude. It really stirs up our emotions. Not that other instruments can do that, but to imagine that it is just one instrument that's doing all of that. And I also notice from leading worship in different churches is that there really is a sound quality issue with electronic organs versus a pipe organ. A pipe organ has a much better sound, and no electronic instrument can match it. So, Mike, I want to thank you so much for your time and for your gift of music and your love of the pipe organ, and that you're willing to serve Holy Trinity and as well as other churches as their organist. And people, I thank you for listening to us and dealing with this video as we maneuver things differently than what I normally have to deal with trying to show you all the different aspects of what constitutes an organ. And so I'm thankful you joined us, and I want you to have a blessed day, and I look forward to having you join us for another episode of Inside HTLC in the future. Till then, please join us for worship on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. See you then.